Allow your awareness now to gently shift toward the subtle, ever-present silence that cradles even the loudest noise, the profound stillness that breathes quietly beneath the roaring waves of sound. Notice how the world around you is not simply a chaotic clatter of isolated noises, but a delicate interplay of sound and silence, where the silence is not an absence, but the very fabric from which every vibration arises. As you listen attentively, you begin to sense that the loudest crash, the most persistent drone, the sharpest piercing tone, each is born within this vast, unbroken silence, like a single ripple forming on the surface of a deep, still lake. The silence is not far away, nor is it something separate from the noise. It is the invisible womb giving life to every audible expression, the silent canvas on which the symphony of existence unfolds. Feel yourself softening into this revelation, as though you are sinking gently into a warm, expansive ocean of quiet that underlies all sound. The silence is not merely the space between sounds, but a continuous presence, a luminous field that holds sound tenderly without resistance or judgment. Imagine the silence as an immense, boundless sky, endlessly vast and calm, stretching beyond the horizon of your thoughts, beyond the incessant chatter of the mind. The sounds that arise, words spoken, bird song, the rustle of leaves, the hum of distant traffic, are like clouds drifting across this vast sky, moving and changing shape, but never disturbing the infinite stillness that remains perfectly whole and undisturbed beneath them. You can feel the immense relief in realizing that no matter how loud or chaotic the clouds may be, the sky itself remains untouched, pristine, and free. Allow this understanding to deepen as you sense how the silence within sound is not a mere concept but a living experience. When a sudden noise arises, notice how it first appears out of silence, and when it fades away, the silence returns effortlessly, unbroken and whole. The space of silence is not a void or emptiness. It is vibrant with a gentle aliveness, a subtle presence that you can rest in without any effort. This silence is your ever-present home, the unshakable foundation beneath the shifting waves of external and internal sounds. It is the quiet heartbeat of existence itself, the sacred pause that holds the rhythm of life in perfect balance. You do not have to chase the silence or create it. It is already here, embracing and containing everything, just as you are. Consider now the paradoxical nature of this silence within sound, a truth that transcends ordinary understanding. Just as the ocean contains the waves but is not disturbed by them, the silence contains every sound without being diminished by even the loudest outburst. The silence does not compete with the noise. Instead, it patiently allows each sound to arise, to express itself fully, to be acknowledged, and then to dissolve back into the stillness. This is the dance of existence, movement arising from stillness, and stillness remaining untouched beneath movement. Your mind may have been trained to see silence as the absence of sound, a blankness to be filled, but now you are invited to taste a deeper reality where silence is the primal presence, the radiant source from which all sounds emerge and into which they gracefully return. Feel the spaciousness that opens within you as you rest in this awareness, the quiet freedom that comes from knowing that silence is not something to be found somewhere out there or achieved through effort, but the very essence of your own being. Even as your mind creates a torrent of thoughts and the world around you teems with noise, the silent presence within remains untouched, a luminous stillness that watches, witnesses, and embraces every sound without resistance. This silence is not separate from you. It is what you truly are beneath the layers of noise and distraction. You are the silent space in which all sounds arise and fall away, endlessly and effortlessly. Allow yourself to explore this profound truth through the metaphor of a vast cathedral, where every footstep, every whispered prayer, Every echo of ancient chants is held within the enormous, silent space. The grandeur of the cathedral is not diminished by the sounds that fill it. Rather, the silence of the space enhances each note, each word giving it depth and resonance. Without silence, the sounds would wash over you like a chaotic storm. But with silence, they become sacred, meaningful, and alive. Likewise, the silence within you does not erase the noises of your life. It enfolds them with a tender spaciousness, making room for everything without losing itself. This is the magnificent generosity of the silent ground of being. Notice how this awareness gently softens your relationship to the noise both outside and within. The chatter of the mind, the clamor of emotions, the cacophony of the world no longer feel like an enemy to be silenced or a problem to be solved. Instead, they become expressions arising from the silence, waves upon the surface of your unchanging depth. You can listen to the noise without being swept away, because you know the silence remains steady, unshaken, and infinitely patient. This recognition brings a profound relief, a spacious freedom that allows you to rest deeply in the midst of the noise, rather than needing to escape it. The silence within sound is your refuge and your strength. As you continue to rest in this awareness, gently turn your attention to the spaces between sounds, the pauses, the quiet moments that often go unnoticed. These moments of stillness are not empty gaps, but sacred thresholds, where silence reveals itself most clearly. In the space between one breath and the next, between one thought and the next, between one sound and the next, the silence shines like a clear lake reflecting the sky. The mind may rush past these spaces, eager to fill them with meaning or distraction. But you are invited to linger here, to rest in the luminous quiet that is always present beneath the flow of experience. In these silent intervals, you touch the essence of your own being, the unchanging presence that is prior to all sound and form. Feel the subtle power of this silent presence, so vast and yet so intimate, so profound and yet so accessible. It is the ever-present I am that does not depend on any sound or sensation to exist. You can rest here now, in the stillness that underlies every noise, knowing that this silence is not a distant ideal but your natural state. It holds you tenderly, it supports you endlessly, and it invites you to let go of the restless search for peace outside yourself. The silence within sound is the silent witness, the gentle heart of awareness that embraces all without exception. It is your home, your truth, your freedom. Breathe deeply into this recognition, allowing the radiant stillness to expand within your chest, your belly, your entire being. Let the silence grow and fill every corner of your awareness, dissolving the illusion of separation between sound and silence, between self and other, between noise and peace. You are not a fragmented being caught between opposites. You are the seamless, unbroken field of silence that gives rise to the symphony of life. This is the profound, liberating truth that you can carry with you beyond this moment. The silence within sound is not only the backdrop of life, but the very essence of your own radiant presence. Allow your attention to settle deeper now, into the subtle, unseen landscape that underlies every sound you hear, every vibration that brushes softly against your awareness. Imagine the loudest noise, the crashing, the clamor, the chaotic symphony of the world's endless chatter, and gently, tenderly begin to perceive the vast, spacious silence in which these sounds arise. There is a profound stillness that is not separate from the noise, but is, in fact, the very essence from which every sound is born. This silence is not an absence or a void. It is a fertile ground, a boundless ocean in which waves of sound rise and fall, dance and dissolve, returning always to the same infinite calm. You do not have to search for this silence outside yourself, for it dwells intimately within you, the silent canvas upon which every tone, every echo, every whisper is painted. Feel yourself resting now in this deep silence, allowing the clamor to become no more than ripples upon the surface of a vast, unshakable stillness. Notice how this silence is not merely the space between sounds, but the very substance of sound itself, the invisible womb that holds and shapes each vibration before it bursts forth into form. Each noise, no matter how fierce or piercing, is inseparable from this silent presence. It arises from silence and inevitably dissolves back into silence, like a wave that bursts with energy and then returns to the ocean, indistinguishable from the water that birthed it. You might think of it as a great cosmic breath, where the inhalation is the silence gathering, the quiet potential waiting, and the exhalation is the sound emerging, the movement and expression of that stillness. There is no division here, no boundary between silence and sound, only a seamless, eternal dance of presence revealing itself in infinite variations. Allow yourself to become mesmerized by this truth, that even the loudest noise you experience is, at its core, made of silence. Feel now the spaciousness that this realization opens within you. There is a profound relief in knowing that the noise, whether the external chaos of the world or the internal chatter of your mind, is never separate from the silence that cradles it. This silence is your true home, your unchanging refuge, untouched by the fluctuations of sound. When you listen deeply, you discover that the silence is not something you must attain or create. It is always present, like the sky behind the clouds, vast and luminous, patiently holding every storm and every sunbeam. You do not have to struggle against the noise or try to quiet it forcibly. Simply allow your awareness to rest in the silence that underlies it all, gently witnessing the rise and fall of sound without grasping or aversion. In this witnessing, the noise loses its power to disturb, and you find yourself effortlessly held in a field of calm and spacious freedom. As you explore this silence within sound, notice how the boundaries between self and other begin to dissolve. The sounds you hear are not separate from you, nor are you separate from the silence that enfolds them. They are all manifestations of the same vast, indivisible presence, one seamless reality expressing itself endlessly in forms that appear to be many, but are in truth one. Imagine the sound as a ripple on a still pond, and the silence as the pond itself. Without the pond, the ripple could not exist, and without the ripple, the pond remains whole and undisturbed. This is the mysterious unity that underlies every experience, the profound non-duality that reveals the singular nature of all phenomena. You are not merely an isolated observer. You are the silent source from which all observation arises, the spacious awareness that embraces both noise and quietude without discrimination or resistance. Let your mind rest now in the gentle paradox of this truth, that silence is not simply the absence of sound, but the very presence from which sound is born and to which it returns. This silence is alive, vibrant, and infinitely creative, the eternal canvas of existence upon which the whole universe paints its ever-changing scenes. It is the stillness that sings, the pause that pulses with life, the quiet heart of the cosmic dance. When you allow yourself to abide in this silence, you tap into a wellspring of peace that is not contingent on external circumstances, a sanctuary that remains untouched by the noise of life. You come to recognize that the loudest clamor, the most overwhelming storm, cannot penetrate the core of your being where the silence reigns supreme. Feel now the liberation that arises from embodying this awareness. You are no longer hostage to the tyranny of sound, no longer pulled into the restless surge of noise that threatens to fragment your attention and scatter your energy. Instead, you become like the sky itself, vast, open, and ungraspable, holding all sounds with an effortless grace, neither clinging to them nor pushing them away. This spaciousness is your natural state, the unshakable ground beneath the shifting waves of experience. With each breath, you deepen into this knowing, allowing the silence within sound to become a living reality, that supports you in every moment. The world may continue its noisy symphony, but you remain serene, anchored in the profound calm that underlies it all. As you rest here, sense the subtle interplay between sound and silence as a metaphor for your own inner landscape. Just as every noise arises from silence, so too do every thought, every emotion, every sensation emerge from the silent depth of your being. They are like clouds passing through a limitless sky, transient, shifting, never permanent, while the sky itself remains untouched, vast, and radiant. You are that sky, the silent awareness in which all experiences appear and disappear. This realization brings a spacious freedom that transcends the dualities of noise and quiet, presence and absence, activity and rest. You are invited now to surrender fully into the silence, to dissolve into the luminous stillness that makes all sound possible, and to rest in the effortless truth that you have always been and will always be, this boundless, silent presence. Breathe gently into this experience, allowing the silence within sound to wash over you like a warm, soothing wave, dissolving any lingering tension or resistance. Feel the exquisite lightness that emerges when you cease struggling against noise, and instead embrace it as an expression of the silence that is your true nature. In this embrace, the separation between sound and silence, inner and outer, self and other, melts away into a seamless unity that is both profoundly simple and endlessly mysterious. You reside now in the heart of this mystery, exquisitely alive and completely free, carried effortlessly on the infinite silent currents that underlie all of existence.